Okay, once again, very good evening to all of you, dear friends. Just as a maybe standard operating procedure, maybe request to everyone to mute their microphones. That'll help in the quality of the audio, and the listening part. So we are extremely pleased today to have this webinar. This is the sixth in the series since the lockdown started in the last, let's say, 3 months. The Belgium Luxembourg Business Association is Delhi based. We have close to 60 members, and basically the chamber is doing work related to networking, advocacy, business promotion, as well as a bridge between the embassy and the private businessmen. Uh, we are pretty active in holding various kind of events that we do in a year of contemporary interest. Close to 10 to 12 events are held. Um, Prior to the COVID lockdown, we used to have most of these events, in a star property with a gathering, over a tea, coffee, or snacks, and that used to also give most of the members an opportunity to network, to talk to each other, because unfortunately there is no substitute for physical meeting and a physical get together. We can have all the Zoom discussions, videos, and the chat boxes, but at the end of the day, that's an extremely important way, when you really want to get your point across, when you want to sit, when you want to clarify each physical meeting. And we hope that in the not too distant future, that we will go back to at least that part of the business association, which is the physical meetings, when it'd be great to again see you all in person. Uh, we have, of course, as I don't need to repeat it, but I think this period is of a great economic distress and discomfort to most of the business community. The so-called predictability and the safety net that we were all used to has got eroded or washed away in a matter of weeks or in a matter of months right in front of us. There is a massive undercurrent of tension, of economic distress, and of course, companies have been facing a lot of challenges. Individuals have been facing a lot of challenges. Entrepreneurs have been facing a lot of challenges of how to survive, how to manage, and how to grow. Eventually, when you all come out of it. But as they say, in our old sayings, that hidden in every adversity is also the spark for the betterment. And I think that's what we all need to learn and to take away from. I mentioned that we've done various webinars. We've done on liquidity management in association with ASA. We've done real estate sector development. Two of the board members, Nutan and Raghav, they were instrumental in getting JLL and CBRE across. We also did one on patent and IPR quite recently, thanks to Shefali and Shilpi, Shefali on our board, and then Shilpi that she had got as a speaker. And then on various others that we've joined together along with the Indo-Dutch Chamber of Commerce and Science. So we are very grateful for this association and very happy for that. And I think in continuation of that is, it brings us to a topic and a subject that's really dear to all of us, because instead of focusing on some vertical discussion, we thought that it's an extremely important thing that we should talk about employee motivation, employee morale, mentoring and coaching. And I'm really fortunate that, of knowing Mr. K.S. Ahluwalia. KS is, in fact, he and I go back 40 years ago, because we graduated from the same school. But of course, in that 40 years, we were never in touch, because we were in our own spheres, and we did not know even that, what the other person was doing, And then thanks to the school group, we got together, maybe a couple of years back, So I'm extremely thankful to know him, because I've heard him also. He's the founder and CEO of Excalibur. He's an executive coach, a mentor, a strategic consultant. And of course, he comes with a rich vein of background corporate experience, having worked with marquee entities like Federal Express, with GE in his formative career years. And of course, for the last 20 years, nearly now, he has his own entity called Excalibur. What I understand is also that KS has probably coached both at leadership level as well as executive coach level in organizations, plus 45,000 people. So that's a remarkable degree of experience and knowledge that he brings into the table. And what I've always liked about KS approach is he brings simplicity to a discussion, with, of course, laced with excellent humor and a sense of putting things in the right perspective. So before we go to KS, these are my opening thing, and I would ask my colleague, very esteemed colleague and Vice President Inyas Hendricks, to come and give the opening remarks. Inyas,
Thank you,
please,
Rajiv.
it's yours.
Good evening, everybody. I'm happy to see so many faces on my screen. And I hope that next time we meet at one of the hotels in Delhi, and at least we can have some samosas and tea. It was an incredible introduction for an incredible speaker, an incredible man. And I was thinking, why do we need a coach? Why do we need a consultant? After all, many of us are years in business. We are doing quite okay. We have noticed a growth and so on. Let me ask you one question. Do you see yourself in the following description of a day at the office? We run from one meeting or a virtual meeting to another meeting. We scroll from one mail to another mail, and we rush from one phone call to another call. You have no time, or let us be honest, you don't make time to push back your chair and have an overall view of your business. Where is my business going? Where is the competition going? Where is the world going? What do my customers want? A consultant can push you gently out of the office and help you to ask the right questions, to look at the business environment, to look at what's happening in your company and outside your company. And yes, with COVID-19, the world has changed. We are trying to survive, and we need plans for future. And the question in the back of my mind is, do we rather have to listen to Steve Jobs, who said to grow your business, you have to decide what your customers want, and you have to make the product. Because a customer, when you ask them, they don't know what they want, they don't know what they need. And of course, there were not so many geniuses as Steve Jobs who really could push products or put products in our hands. In my opinion, the right question or the right approach to grow the business is we need to ask the customers, what do you want today? What do you want tomorrow? And make products accordingly. Many great companies have a wonderful team of engineers on board, and these are the people who decide what will be designed for tomorrow, next year, and 5 years. But the problem is, you need to put other people in that team as well. Marketing people, sales people, because they are closer to the customer. They really know what the customer wants. So in my opinion, we need to make products that the customer needs. Your product or service has to make the life of your customer easier, simpler, save them money, or both. There are great companies like Kodak, Motorola, Nokia. Kodak and Motorola and Nokia are examples of India. They failed to look at the world around them, and they are not the number one in their business. And there are so many approaches, and I would like Mr. KS to enlighten us about the right approach to grow the business, the right and smart decisions to grow the business. Mr. KS, the microphone is yours.
Right. Okay, thanks. Thank you very much. In fact, I'm honored that I'm here with you all. And one thing which I want to make it very clear here is we're going to have a discussion. We're going to enjoy a discussion. There's not one guy who knows everything. In fact, we all know most of the things. So let me start with a story. You know, we've stopped listening to stories here. Yes or no? Yeah, I want some answers, man. Come on, take your mics off. Right? Put them on.
Because we are in mute actually.
One of you can, yeah, unmute. We don't listen to stories. We don't hear stories. We become a story ourselves.
True.
And our story is full of what next, from one frying pan to the other. So let me start with the story. There were 4 professors of philosophy. Mark my words, 4 professors of philosophy. They were standing at a railway station, the Indian railway station, waiting for the train. As usual, Indian railways, the train seldom comes on time. So these professors went into a philosophical discussion. And so, powering was the discussion that they forgot the train had arrived. And suddenly the whistle blew, and all 4 of them started running towards the train. So 3 got in, 1 couldn't. Now the guy who couldn't, the professor, he was pretty despondent. So he comes, sits on the bench, and he's actually crestfallen. So one of these Spartans, right, he goes to him and he says, "Hey, professor, what's the problem here? After 1 hour, a new train will come. It'll go to the same destination. Cheer up, man. Life is this." So the professor says, "No, that's not the problem. The issue I have is those 3 guys who boarded the train." So now the Spartan said, "You should be happy that they boarded the train. Why are you sad?" He said, "They had come to see me off. In the hustle and bustle, they boarded the train and I am here." I just want you people to reflect. Running at 100 miles an hour, knowing not where we are going, is not going to get us anywhere. Am I right? The first is objective. First is to get the objective clear, not the transactions clear. Am I right?
True.
Somewhere down the line, we've forgotten the objective and we are doing what is known as knee-jerk reactions. We want to fix things. Please don't fix things. Fix the process. Things are not to be fixed in life. People who are successful, they don't look at today or tomorrow. They look beyond and do a reverse osmosis. But I always say, when I used to be in a retail segment in one of my assignments, and I used to tell my people, retail means detail. Detail your work, plan your work, and work your plan. That's the most easy thing. And let me tell you folks here, the easiest thing in the world is to do business. The easiest. It just requires a common sense. It doesn't require reams of data. It just requires thinking on your feet. Be responsive and start enjoying yourself. That's all business is all about. Any industry, anywhere, how can you lighten the atmosphere is what success is all about. Simple things make your life simple, because simplicity is the only thing today. In an age of color, black and white advertising stands out. Am I right?
Correct.
In an age of complex people, simple guys stand out.
Correct.
Just be simple, yeah. Just be simple. Let's get very, very clear on certain things. Life is to enjoy to the fullest. You know. Let's take an example. I'll take you back to your college. Well, when we are all in the college, the only deficiency we had was vitamin M, money. Am I right? We should look for in Hindi I'd say the bakras who can get me a cup of coffee or a samosa, right? Because I didn't have money.
He was a king in the group.
Yeah, absolutely. And we used to coin birthdays of people because there's no money.
True.
Right? So while we're in the colleges, the first thing we said is, when I grow up, when I'm out of the college, I'm going to have a job. And I want to enjoy my life, man. I'm going to buy whatever I want. I want to have my hobbies. I want to freak out. Now, after 20 years or 15 years, where am I?
We are still the same.
Are you sure?
In a different way.
We've got money. That's also in the bank.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I
Right?
said.
Right. And now, in the morning, the tail is on fire. Forget the morning. Dawn itself. The guys who work in multiple timelines, the dawn itself, the phones start ringing. And unfortunately, the network works today. And the first thing the guys ask, what's happening? And the tail is on fire. And you rush through everything. You come to the office. You're half stressed, full dead. And then your boss tells you, think. How the hell can I think? Then he's got all sorts of reports, those Monday meetings and morning meetings, in which you are asked what you are supposed to do. And if there's a failure, then you're put on the dock. So you start with day with explanations, justifications, right? Instead of being creative, innovative, and breakthroughs. And this goes for 2 hours. And then what do? You come out. Now you've got your own team. You're filled up with all that, what's happened, you need to vomit. So you very successfully, deftly vomit it out on your team. Now this thing goes on, and when the guys go to the market, they become transactions. Yes or no?
True.
Think
Yes.
about it. Monday meetings, Monday blues. So let's come back to some more things. A very simple. Let's get one thing very clear here. Whatever success you are having today is not because you did something right yesterday. Let's get that clear. This is about 6 to 9 months before the activities or the planning you did. There's nothing as instantaneous, right? There's nothing as a CD. So please don't get into this norm that yesterday I did something breakthrough thinking, today I'm getting success. No, you're not. It's a series of events which happened in the past, which are you getting the results today. So now if you want to create your future, you need to do the right things at the right time. Am I right? Not the things right. And for that, you need time. For that, you need peace. For that, you need a focus. Am I right?
Correct.
For that, you need a basic thing is simplicity, enjoyment, fun, frolic. And if you don't have them, then what we create is the PPTs. And I always say that the guys who make PowerPoint presentations neither have a point, neither the power. Successful people talk. They don't go on justifications. Am I right? So
Yeah.
let's come to right? Now I'm surprised when I talk to people these days. Yeah, they say it's a new normal. There's no new normal. It's a new future. Yeah. What do you mean normal, abnormal? It's a new future. You've got to work from a different angle. So now it's a virtual human touch, not a human touch. Am I right?
Right.
And that's going to be the norm. Are we geared up for it? Should we gear up for it? And if I'm geared up, am I making my team getting geared up? That's $1 million question. Just to give you one example, I was talking to a group of the CEOs, about 20 of them, and I asked a simple question like in the webinar. I said, tomorrow the lockdown opens, what's going to happen? And 80% of them told me, Alu, let it open, we will decide then. Goodness gracious. You're going to decide when the lockdown opens. So what are you going to do? You're going to make your boys or the folks' life miserable because you don't know what you want. Am I doing the same thing? Think about it. We have all the time. Today I'm being very categorical. Studies have proved, emphasized, and they've deduced that a person's productivity in the whole day is only 5 to 6 hours. The successful guys. And today we do have that opportunity to have that much time. Yes or no? Our travels have reduced, right? Everything is reduced. We have all the time in the world. Are we utilizing it? Or are we cribbing? Are we thinking about things which are not going to happen? Or are we preparing for the things which will not happen? Are we putting our heads in the sands of time and waiting for the time to heal, which will never heal? Or we are doing something now? Everything starts and ends with me in the now. Life is very simple. 2 into 2 is 4 only. 2 into 2 is not 6. This is the only opportunity. I think I am 50 now, 54. In my life, this was the only opportunity I had in which I'm stuck in my home, right? For the last 4 months, I travel about 26 days a month. Now look at the life I have. I am supposed to eat what my wife gives me without questions. I only have one choice, take it or leave it. Number 2, I have all the time in the world to recoup my strategies. Am I right?
Right.
To learn and unlearn, to relearn things. Yeah. To connect with the guys I couldn't in the last 20, 30 years. Am I right?
Yes.
To pursue my hobbies. And to be in love with my own self. Thanks to what? One small virus. Am I right? Isn't that something so beautiful? I'm out of the malls, out of the eateries, out of the craps. Am I right? Now this is the time I can focus things. Are we doing it? I don't know whether we're going to get it again or not. Are we utilizing it?
Case, if I have to make a point, can I do it now? I mean, something on what you said.
It's an open session. Jump in and make my life miserable.
So what I would say, you say that I have that all that time available, the things I could not do before, I can do it. Now I have so many options in front of me, and I would say that we never had a world which was so connected, full of so much information. Now the difficult thing is, what should I follow out of all these options? So rather than getting into that kind of a choosing kind of a system, I say, okay, whatever I was doing, let me continue doing it with that, because that's the easiest option. So this is what I'm feeling. I mean, for most of us, or for myself personally.
No, that's for most of us. I second you here. I second you. I'm with you. Okay. Now let me put it this way. If you're going to do the things which you were doing before, you will keep getting those results which you're getting today. So you decide the results you're getting, are you happy with them? There's a difference between doing the thing right and doing the right things. Am I right? And there's a difference between, and you used a very beautiful word, choosing and deciding. Am I right? Most of us decide things. We need an option. Yeah. One of the best. Am I right? No. That doesn't work. Choosing is the thing, because in choosing, you're responsible for what you do. You're accountable for that. And when you're accountable, there are no excuses. Am I right?
Yeah.
And when there are no excuses, there's only one choice to have. You got to succeed.
Absolutely.
Get out of this deciding mode. Get out of the deciding mode. Come to the, I choose to eat a chocolate ice cream. Am I right? You don't need to justify that. Am I right or wrong? I don't eat an ice cream. A simple example which I tell people when I talk to the senior executives, when I ask them what's the vision of life, you know what I get from them? I want to be the MD of a company. Is that a vision? Getting into a hierarchical mode, is that a vision or a transaction? And the guys at the top are more fractured, more lonelier, more fearful. You want to be that? Think about it. A vision of a life is encompassing. Am I right? I want to be a change maker, right? I want to create a difference. That's it. Not the package I get or the countries I travel. Yes or no? A simple line, yeah? Start choosing things in life. And I'm telling you, it works, man, and it works. This only works. Nothing else works. Get into that mode of choosing. The day you choose, get that very clear and think about it. That day you are more at peace with yourself. Otherwise, you are in pieces. You are more inclined to do what you want. You'll have a process in place. You'll have the standard operating principles in place. You'll have the timelines in place because you're responsible for yourself. Am I right? And your intuitive ability will go up. Take any example of your life. The day you choose to do it, success is a byproduct. I'll just take an example. The mountain of a problem. Suppose you are playing a cricket, right? And you want to make a mark. And and you're geared up in the morning. I'm going to get that team, right? I'm going to hit a century. You won't sleep the night, man. Yes or no? You'll wait for the dawn. Am I right? The same you, the same ball, the same pitch. Something changed. Am I right? And that happens when you're on the debate, when you're on the stage. Am I right? Many times when you're on the stage and you're talking, the concepts you come across, you come out and you say, hey, when did I say that here? I don't know. Something happened, no? You know why? Because the dance takes over the dancer. A good dancer is one who immerses in the dance. A good speaker is one who immerses in the speech. A good professional is one who immerses in his productivity.
Very right, very right.
Am I right?
Absolutely.
Think about it. And we are that one. I'll just take you back to the college here, because for me they were golden periods, and for you also maybe most of them. Am I right? Yeah. In college, just go ahead here. We used to have, I think our networking was the best. Am I right?
Yeah.
We had friends at every place. Am I right?
Yes.
Number two, we had hobbies in avalanches. Am I right? Not one by hundreds of them. Other thing, someone gave you a challenge, Neeraj, and you see yourself coming up. Am I right? You gave me a challenge. I can't do it. Damn it, I am going to now do it. Yes or no?
Yep.
Right? And you were committed to make a mark. Be an excellent guy. 20 years. Where are we? Hobbies are gone. Right?
Anything for a samosa.
Okay. So hobbies are gone.
Yeah.
We are always short of time.
Yeah.
Our education is gone for a toss. The humor we have is filled with constipation. It's not a free flowing humor. Am I right?
Yeah.
And we are not simple. I've seen guys introducing myself. I'm the CEO of the company. Damn it, I wanted to know your name. Yes or no?
Yes.
Get a guy. I get people out on the stage and I say, tell me about yourself. And you know what they start? My name is so and so. I work in so and so company. I do. All past. What are you? My name is Aluwalia. I write, I recite, I enjoy. I have these hobbies. And guys, I want to be one of you. How is that? Something different, right? Yes or no?
That's a personal introduction again, sir. Actually, you
The
know, the people here, these people, nobody will be interested. What is my hobby? Or not many of the people may not be interested. We all think we are wasting my time actually.
Sir, absolutely right. And I'll give you a very simple anecdote, not an anecdote, but a study. We were 60 guys across the world for an exercise, right, in Dubai, where we had a coach. I'm giving a very personal example. The question given to us was, write 5 values that drive you. The question is very clear now. 5 values that drive you. The data was collected. 92% had the same one. The sequencing was only different. Meaning, you and I all think alike. And let me now take that to a different platter. The selling, I'm coming straight to the functional selling now, right? Selling is never done by a product or a service. The basics of the selling is empathy, where you connect with the customer.
Yeah.
The best sales guys never sell a product. They talk. They do a KYC on the customer. That is known as know your
Customer.
Am I right?
Yeah.
And they never position the product. The product is a byproduct in the whole conversation. The comfort level is the driving agenda there, right? I am in safe hands. This guy is safe. Am I right? He understands my requirements. He is not putting a story for me. You think about yourself here. I'll give you a very simple example. I was discussing today with some people. You have the same, a housewife will leave the husband, but not the grocer. The grocery guy.
Grocery guy, yeah.
Yeah. You will go to the same hair cutting salon every time. Am I right?
Yes.
Right? Right? You will have the same, you will go to the same eateries every time. Why? Comfort level. Am I right?
Comfort level. Yeah.
Right. So that is why I say, I'm just taking it on a step further. Customer satisfaction is useless. Customer loyalty is priceless.
Okay.
And if you have loyal customers, you don't need to sell. You position the whole thing with them and they sell for you.
True.
A guy who does a cold call doesn't know selling. Selling is referrals. And how do you create a referral? When you do a value proposition. Am I right? When you look at the unarticulated needs of that person. Am I right? When you help him grow his business. I was talking to one of the organizations and they said things are not happening. White goods, you understand? White goods, right? I said, hey, your sales are not happening. You know why? They said, customer don't want to buy. I said, that's your problem. And they were supplying B2B. I said, did you make any plans for your customer how to improve his efficiency? Did you step into his shoes? Did you create a value proposition for him? Did you help him do his business? The day you do it, you become a DNA for him. Yes or no?
Yes.
And once you become a DNA, you don't trade DNAs. Am I right? And today is the time to create that proposition. Am I right, sir? How many of us are doing that research? You go to work for your customer. He is the master. Am I right? He gives me my daily bread. Yes or no?
Yes.
Am I doing something extra for him? Price discounting is totally different and a very pedestrian way of selling against a value proposition. Yes or no?
Yes.
Am I right, sir?
Yes.
Think about it. And if your customers are leaving you, it's not because they have a better product. They are dissatisfied by you. I used to work in FedEx, and let me quote one example to you. We used to have an NSL. NSL is net service levels. You need to send the couriers on time, right? And FedEx was is still famous for 10:30 priority delivery. 10:30 means 10:30 in FedEx. Now the level was the benchmark was 99.98%, meaning 1,000 packets, not even one. Yes or no? We should do that because the systems were robust. They were dynamic, adaptable, scalable, and above all in the systems was the guy who was committed to autograph his work with excellence. Autograph his work with excellence. In FedEx, we never had an eraser. Do everything first time right. It's easy to say, yes or no?
Yes.
We write a email, we revise it. Yes or no? Yes. And we are on the autopilot mode there. The words have to come in a jiffy. I'll take a very simple example on a customer satisfaction with you. I used to work for Jardins. You understand Jardins as a group. The guys who own Singapore Airlines, Jardine Matheson, Jardines Fleming, shipping, etc., etc. So we were the guys who started, who launched the Indica car in India. And Tatas didn't know how to launch a car. And Tatas were very shoddy in the service. We all know that, right? So it was given to us. And I'm now sharing this example with you. I was sitting in Bombay House with my team with Gopala Krishnan, who's the head of the automotive that time with them. So I asked Gopal, I said, Gopal, what is the production you have? He said, we do about 20,000 cars a year. Yeah. Fair enough. So in Jardins, we use a word, take a jump. I said, take a jump now. He said, Alo, if we can get 25,000, I think we've done a good job. I looked at him, I looked at my team. I said, Gopal, take a jump. So 2-3 times I told him to take a jump. It came to about 30,000. My maximum he took 35,000. I said, that's it? Nothing more? He said, yeah, 35,000 is what the max we can do. Fair enough. Jardins as an organization, I won't go in those details. 7 days, we got a booking of 125,000 cars. And 90% was upfront money, right? No car in India comes with the upfront money, yes or no? 90%. We had 3,500 crores in cash in the bank. Tata's plant was 3,000 crores. Depreciated on the day 1. We came out with a plan with them that every 3 months change the model. Change the model. So that the guy who's waiting for a year gets a very, very new model. Yeah. What happened? Let's leave that. It's a bad ending to a good product. Line of sight. Yes or no? You're thinking. That is known as quantum leap. Yes. That is known as. And you know what we did? I'll just give you one example. How did we succeed? We didn't have any rocket science. If you remember the automobiles, all of us, the first year is always on the company, servicing, etc., etc. We ensured that 54% of the revenue came from service in the first year itself. How? Tata's had the other cars. So we were the first person in the whole of India to have a 24/7 service center. Value addition, yes or no? Right. The car gets picked up from your home, driven to the premises, cleaned and sent back to you. And if you say it is not, 3 services are free. When we started that, people said people are thieves. I said, no, out of 100, only 2 will do that. But 99 will give me referrals, am I right? Correct. My accessory sale went up on the contribution to 28%. That's a value proposition. Am I right, sir? Right. A simple box can be turned into a revenue. Yes or no?
Yes.
Someone needs to think from outside the box. Someone needs to think without a box. I'll give you some very examples which I'm not going in how to do it because you guys are an expert. I'm giving examples in what happens. You aware of the there's a young lady, I would say, a girl with brains, who's the CEO of Facebook. What's her name?
Cheryl.
Okay, good. She was in India about 1.5 years or 2 years back to launch one of her books, Lean In. You remember that? Okay. And she was in Oberoi's in Delhi. And I happened to be one of the participants to listen to her. But these are the guys who need to listen. Am I right? So everyone, or most of us, was asking her question, how did you succeed? A very vanilla question. Am I right, sir? I got up. I said, Cheryl, tell me, how many times you failed? There was a pin drop silence. I said, I don't care how you succeeded. Tell me, how did you fail? You know what she told me? He said, step out We'll have a coffee together. Me and her sat for 4 hours. And surely in the 4 hours, we were not talking bees. Am I right? She discussed her life. She said, not many people ask how you failed. I said, I don't care how you succeed. I should know what not to do. Am I right? Not what to do. There's a difference. Yes or no?
Yes.
And people who are successful share because they're humble. People who don't know get into arrogance. Am I right?
But then she told you that how many times she failed?
Oh, she said I rarely passed.
That's why she took 4 hours.
I don't want to go into those details. She said I rarely passed. Her DM, success DM, direct marketing was only 10%. But that's the statement. Am I right?
Correct.
She knew what not to do.
Yeah. And you learn from the mistakes of the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Provided you want to learn.
So
yeah. Provided you want to. Okay, I'll give you one more example. You know this guy, Aditya Puri?
Yeah.
You all know? A very small town guy. He was from Chandigarh, a chartered accountant. He's been, I think, the best CEO, and he's turned the HDFC Bank around. Am I right?
Yeah, very
And till date, they have not been able to find a good successor for this man. Am I right? Right. I happen to, I used to work for HDFC in their coaching and all at senior management. So I was sitting with him one day, many a time, but I'll talk about it. Aditya Puri comes to the office at 7:30 in the morning. Office opens at 9. Am I right?
Yeah.
7:30. So he's there by 1.5 hours before. Not even when the janitors have come. Yeah. He comes. He does all the planning before the fish market starts. Mr. Aditya Puri is so poor that he doesn't afford a mobile phone. There's no mobile on his table. His average turnaround time of a memo or a decision is 90 seconds. Listen to that very carefully. 90 seconds the guy makes a decision. Average. He leaves at 4:30 every day. You don't find him on the page 3. Am I right? He's got hobbies. He's a fantastic singer. He's a poet. And in his meetings, when I was there, you know, the sales meeting, you have 30 slides. 29 is window dressing. Am I right?
Yes.
And the last is your numbers, which you haven't done. And he's a typical Punjabi. I won't go into Punjabi. You understand when Punjabi talks. There are certain phrases which we use. He used to say, last key slide, show me the last slide. And last slide is naked. Am I right? The storytelling has gone. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Now, when the storytelling has gone, and once you don't do the targets, then language is beautiful. It's exemplary. So you got to have only one choice. Get out of the storytelling, get back to business. Am I right? Don't tell me how hard you worked. Tell me what did you get for me? And that's the statement, gentlemen and the ladies, I learned from Mr. Jack Frederick Welch. The guy is an institution. Am I right? He taught me 2 things. Taught us. We were a batch of 30, 40 guys. You know what he taught us? He said, one, I told you, don't tell me how hard you worked. And the second thing he taught us, there are 100,000 reasons justifying a failure. Unfortunately, none is a good one. So everything is over. Am I right? Get back to the basics.
To the basics.
Right.
I'm very clear about certain things. Most of us don't go back to the basics.
It starts and ends with you.
Yeah.
With me, rather, whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Most of us plan to succeed. Some of us plan to succeed, but most of us plan to fail.
In fact, yes, we often use this phrase, we always did like this. It's a very standard, it's a standard phrase that we often hear in the companies here, we always used to do like this, or we have always done like this. Now, obviously, that failure is hidden behind and is just kind of peeking, in the back door. But probably this is like a veneer of a justification, that we used to do like this, or we did like this. So, when you talked about, this clarity on the strategy, what struck me was this example of Avis versus Hertz. And, you and I were speaking about this maybe a week or so back. Avis had this byline that we try harder. They knew that when they were entering that game, they were up against a giant or up against a very formidable organization, Hertz, which was already very well established. So they said, we don't have to, enter into like a Me Too concept. Just because we enter, here we are also. So they said that let's be humble, let's be clear with ourselves, let's keep our feet on the ground and appeal to the customer in saying that we try harder. And I think that byline, that 4 or 5 words were what Avis, the world over. And in fact, after 40 years or 50 years of inventing of that particular phrase, that then they probably changed, because, somebody else comes with a byline which is slightly different. But that's what came to my mind, when you were mentioning.
I'll share one very personal example with you. And I came from a logistic background to HCL. And I was in the satellites. And guys, let me be very blunt. I didn't know a bit and a byte. And I had guys from IIMs and IITs. And I was ahead. And they knew the sir doesn't know anything. So I was a piece of flesh for them. So I remember Shiv Nadar, we used to have lunch together, all the senior guys with him. So I wanted to make a story. I'm just telling you the storytelling. I told Shiv Nadar, I said, Shiv, I don't understand the trade. The guy, and the worst part in the guy was he used to only serve idli dosas. Now to a Punjabi, having idli every day was not palatable for me at least. So he looked at me without any emotions. He said, learn it. I said, damn it, he didn't understand what I'm saying. I'm from a logistic background. I don't understand this. I again asked him, I said, Shiv, I don't understand this trade. He said, learn it. So I came to know that this guy only understands one language. Learn it. And the second day, Mr. Shiv Nadar sends me to who? He sends me to Dr. U.S. Rao, the chairman of ISRO, a scientist. Am I right? And scientists are not conversationalists. Am I right, sir? Their DNA has a science in it. And he's a satellite guy. And we were discussing about missiles which had to be launched. So I go to Dr. Rao, and that day I did my prayers 40 times over, because Dr. Rao would have thrown me out in a minute. He knew that this guy doesn't understand satellites. So I go to him and I say, sir, he said, after the necessary, he said, okay, what do you want? Not what the hell I want, I don't know. I've been thrown in a pit. So that's the time my instinct came up. I said, Dr. Rao, sir, I want you to be my mentor. He said, but why? I said, because I don't understand anything, sir. I was blunt, transparent with him. Am I right? I said, sir, you are the master. I am here to learn. All right? Please help me. Because if you don't help me, my job will go. Shivan is not going to leave me. Imagine Dr. U.R. Rao investing 8 hours of his time. He gave me a personal autograph book. What I learned in that 8 hours with him was 1,000 books. Am I right? And he was the guy who put me to Dr. Kalam. I had a personal meeting with Dr. Kalam. And you know what Mr. Dr. Kalam taught me? Gita. And he, because he was our customer, he told me, this is the way RFP of this has to be made. You understand RFP? Request for proposal. Am I right? Sure. They guided us. Why? Because empathy came. Yes or no? How did empathy came? When you put your guard down and say, I want to learn. It's not here. In HCL, we used to make typewriters. You understand, electronic typewriters. I involved the team of service. I said, what are the problems we are facing in the market? What does my customer need? Not the sales guys. We went to the customers. I used to go as a trainee with them. The customer used to say, this is what we want, this is what we want. And the products used to then roll. So I had a ready market for the product. Am I right?
Sure.
My turnaround time was reduced. I started making money. GTM, go to the market. Now, look at the unarticulated needs. Be humble with your customers. Are we? Should we? Now, how do you create a team? I'm just going to jump to a new aspect with you. You know, teams are not.
Case, can I interrupt you in between? I can see a question from Shefali.
Shoot, Shefali. Where is Shefali? I need to.
Shefali, are you there?
I can't see her here.
Oh, I can see her online, but her video is not on.
Anyway, Shefali, you can speak here.
She's on mute.
Shefali.
Anyway, she'll come back.
Preeti,
Anyone
you
else
have a question with you? Shefali sent a question. Do you have that with you?
Neeraj, you have a question?
Yes,
Shoot, man.
Neeraj.
Shoot.
Neeraj, you are on mute. Unmute yourself.
Right now I'll mute.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, Neeraj. Shoot.
So my question is that whenever we are going to any customer, so how can you identify that customer is useful for us, that point of view of demand and supply and creditability of credit and other things and longevity. So how can we define? हम ये जस्ट में सर हम ये नहीं पता कर पाते किसी कस्टमर को हम जाते हैं कि भाई ये कस्टमर क्रेडिटेबिलिटी के अकॉर्डिंगली हम इसको क्रेडिट देंगे क्योंकि राइट नाउ वी आर बिलोंग फ्रॉम ट्रेडिंग सेक्शन एंड वी आर ट्रेडर। तो हमारी प्रॉब्लम्स ये हो जाती है कि कस्टमर को आइडेंटिफाई करने में हम आइडेंटिफाई नहीं कर पाते कि भाई इसका क्या क्रेडिटेबिलिटी रह सकती है, क्या इसकी हमारे साथ में लॉन्गेविटी रह सकती है और क्या इसकी डिमांड एंड सप्लाई हो सकती है। तो हम कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करें कि ये प्रोडक्ट हम यहाँ पे प्लेस करें या ना करें, और करें तो उसने अगर हमसे क्रेडिट मांग लिया तो हम उसको दें या नहीं दें। क्योंकि कई बार हम ऐसा कर देते हैं कि हमने दे दिया, उसका सेकंड ऑर्डर हमारे से नहीं आएगा, वो हमारे से रिप्लेस कहीं अलग चला जाएगा और हमारा कस्टमर भी गया और हमारा पेमेंट भी गया।
And that is a very romantic situation, Neeraj, है ना? When the goods have gone, the money has gone, and the bosses talk very beautiful language with you. Am I right? Right? Okay. यार बड़ा simple है यार. In your whole now listen to me. I'll just finish it in about 40 seconds with you. In this whole conversation, what were you doing? You were judging the customer. Sir, you never judge a customer. You investigate about him. Okay. You do a KYC.
Okay.
And let me tell you one thing, Neeraj. Whatever I am today, right? Sales was my first love. Yeah, you remember, na? You never forget your first love.
Okay.
Sales was my first love. Whatever I am today is because of sales. And only one thing. I used to be honest with my own self. I used to do a thorough study on my customer.
Okay.
Right? Now, before you go to a customer, you should know everything and anything which can help you in making a valid choice. Do we do that? Okay. You should know what is this company, what are the aspirations they have, what are the blocks they have, his individuals. People talk about individuals. Let me tell you,
okay,
a conversation, if you start with individuality, selling automatically happens.
Okay. Okay.
You know what we do? We go to him as an expert and we look at asking questions. You don't ask questions, yeah. You engage him.
Yeah.
There's a difference between engaging and asking. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Neeraj, if I have to talk to you, I'll go to your Facebook. I'll understand what type of a guy you are. I'll go to your LinkedIn. Am I right? And then I'll say, Neeraj, you did this. Tell me, won't you be interested to talk? Or if I say, Mr. Neeraj, what is your requirement? Then I am one of the 20 which come every day. Yes or no?
Yes.
Am I right, sir?
Yep.
How are you distinct, different, unique?
So, sir, just a minute.
KS, we'll just take a question from Inyas, who has raised it probably early. Inyas, can you?
Neeraj hasn't finished. Can we just?
Yeah, please.
Neeraj, all yours. Bolo.
First thing I understand from your conversation, right now if you are going to anybody, so first of all, I should inquire each and everything. I am treated as an investigation officer, not a trader with them.
Absolutely right. Bilkul sahi hai, yaar.
Okay.
I'll make an example. I'll give you a very simple example. You were in the college?
Yes.
Right. Some girls you liked? Yes, no, yeah. Come on, don't tell me you didn't.
That's his opinion now.
Huh? Yes or no? So did you do a KYC on them or not? Which bus she takes? What are her interests? Right? Where does she live? You did all that background study? Yes or no? Answer, yeah, Neeraj. Yes. So
Okay.
as you did with that person, you got to do it with everyone.
Sure.
It works. Yes, Ignace.
Thank you. Inyas, please.
The question is more a general question. Many companies have cut salaries. A lot of corporates have given like 70 or 75% of the salary to the senior staff, and this happened since COVID started. So how can I motivate my staff, my senior staff? They got only maybe 70% of the salary. I don't know when things will become normal, what will be the new normal. So how to motivate staff in unknown times with less salary?
Ines, let me put it this way. This didn't happen because of COVID. This was a thought plan by the company. And to that extent, the senior management is responsible. Let me be very clear. You've got to be a lean and agile company, not a lean and mean company. Okay? Let me give you a very simple example. I'll give you a very simple example. We know about there was a news clipping which came on Asian Paints. They increased the salaries. Am I right? In the COVID.
Okay.
Yes, Sunil? Are you aware? Right. Now I happen to know work with them. So I asked the HR guy. I said, "Now come on, yaar. What's the truth? Window dressing is something different. Am I right? Come to the truth, man." I said, "What impact? How much is the impact on your bottom line?" He said 1%. I said, "You answered my question."
Yeah.
1% increase in the bottom line. You got a credibility in the market. Am I right? You today the talent, you're going to get the best at a very less price. Am I right?
Correct.
So you're making a company of giants. Someone thought differently. And coming back to your question, the salary component is only about in the organization. It's about 20 to 30%. Right?
Right.
Right. Now the people who cut it, they need to be cut first because they've stopped thinking. Let me be very candid. Your SCM, your supply chain management, and these are studies. If you just re-hone them, you save about 18% or 20% on your bottom line. On the bottom line, am I right?
Correct.
So please redraw the processes, get the guys excited, look at productivity, right? Let them produce more with less. And that's the way organizations work, right?
Sure.
And the companies which cut salaries, they are just one trader. So let's not make our talent as a trading issue. And you're very right. The guys who cut the salaries, they actually want to show that we are doing something for the company. No, you are actually putting the company in obituary now. Because the good talent is going to leave you now. Given a choice, they'll leave you. Just wait for it. And you'll be left with laggards. Please don't do that. Improve, I always say improve the bottom line. Forget the top line. Get out of this top line mode.
Yes.
When I work with the companies and they come to me that they show me the balance sheet, I put the whole thing, I threw it off. I said, what is the cash in the bank?
Yeah.
That's the only truth. Am I right?
Correct.
Yes or no? Rest all is accounting. The cash in the bank is my liquidity. Are we doing that? And anyways, this is, in fact, I am horrified with the way people behave. This is myopic thinking to the best. And we expect these guys, after you cut them, chop them, slice them like a salami, to work for you. Well, God can't help. Yes or no? Talent needs to be respected, adored, protected, loved. Am I right?
Very right.
Yeah.
I'll give you a very personal example. I used to work for, I told you, for Jardins. We went to Pune, right, for a conference with the Tatas. And there was a guy there, a young Sikh gentleman at the front office. So you know, people, we treat them, these guys, absolutely ridiculous. Yes or no? We think they don't exist. So I had a dealer in front of me, a big fat guy in the sense in his thinking. And he said, I want a room, he was about 50, 55 that time. I want a swimming pool facing room. Now we understand why. So the guy looked at him and he said, sir, sorry, all those rooms have been booked. And you hadn't given us this choice before, but I assure you, after 12 o'clock, when there is a change in the availability, I will accommodate you. A very simple answer.
Yes.
Logical answer, yes or no?
That's right.
But this guy told him, you don't know who the hell am I? And he used all sorts of, the language, the Haryanvi language, I'll tell you, right?
Correct.
And this guy was shouting at him and I was feeling bad. I'm a Punjabi, yaar. My first thing was to catch him and give him. But now it was an essay test for that third. Am I right? How to handle this. The guy was cool. He said, sir, I'm afraid, sir, I can't do anything, blah, 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 blah. This guy, squeaking, went to the room. I have a habit of tickling people. I have that very, very good habit. I never say a bad habit. So I went, when my turn came, I looked at him and I said, very bad, yeah. He shouldn't have done this. I wanted to see what's the depth of the guy. He looked at me and he said, Mr. Ahluwalia, you know, he was angry at something else. He just came here, he vomited it out. I think he should be feeling better. I personally wrote it to the hotel management. He's an asset. Protect him. Nurture him. He's going to make you proud one day, man. These are the guys you need. Am I right? And today, he's a vice president of a fantastic chain of hotels.
Great example.
Wonderful story.
That's what do you catch them young? Yes or no? These are the guys you need. Yes, they are not tradable commodities.
Yes.
Because of them, you and I are here. Yes or no? Yes or no? Think about it.
Yeah.
If your team doesn't perform, sir, you lose the job. Am I right?
Yeah.
If your customers don't buy, you get out. Yes?
That's it.
How the hell we think that we are the drivers? We are not. We are the facilitators.
Can
We engagers.
Case, can I just drop in between? We are running ahead of the time. I have, if Shefali back.
There's a question from.
Yeah.
Amit, just a second. We have, I think Sandeep has a question.
No, yeah, Rajiv, I don't have a question. On the chat board, there's a question from Sapna.
Please.
Where is Sapna?
So we'll take two questions more in the interest of time. One is from Sapna Shivpurkar. Sapna, please go ahead.
Yeah, Sapna, all yours.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Just wanted to ask one thing. People expect smart work from an employee, and we are born and brought up with traditional way of hard working and everything. So how to map up with that, please?
Swapna, you just answered yourself. Our tradition was Sanskrit language. Our tradition in India was Sanskrit. Am I right?
Yes.
You're talking in English. You've changed, man. Yes or no? You've adapted. First of all,
my studies I have carried on.
Let me make it more sincere to you. This tradition, non-tradition, modern, nothing works. What works is.
Parents ने हमेशा hard working सिखाया है और
अरे यार मैं हिंदी में मैं देवी जी हिंदी में जवाब देता हूँ. When people मेरे से जब लोग बात करते हैं ना, you got to pardon me, मैं हिंदी में जवाब दूँ समझ जाओगी. Actually I'll tell you, Swapna, मेरी problem पता क्या है? My English is weak. I have done MA English in Hindi medium.
पंजाबी में मत दियो जवाब बस.
Okay, now let's come back. यार एक बात बताओ मुझे, ये ट्रेडिशन क्या होती है? ये होती क्या है?
तो हमको शुरू से मेहनत करना सिखाया जाता ना अपने आप.
अरे तुमने सुना क्यों? मत सुनो. एक मिनट. Let's get to the basics. You are here to perform an activity, right? A meaningful, constructive activity. Am I right? Right? And for that, you need to make a process in place. Am I right? You need to have checks and balances. You need to have timelines. Right? You just follow that. Throw this jargons which people use. You know, people use communication for 3 aspects. And listen to me very carefully now. And whenever your bosses use, you tell them. And you can quote me. Right? First is, you got to convince people, which they can't. Which 80% of us can't, because we don't have the facts. Second is to confuse. Use jargons. You complicate the whole damn thing, it goes over the head. And in India, we say, the guy who complicates, usko bahut kuch aata hai. Kuch nahi aata hai usko. And number 3 is corrupt. So get out of these 3 C's. Make whatever you have to do, just do it with excellence. Am I right? Forget about what people say. You look in yourself and see what you say to yourself. Am I right? Am I clear with you?
Yes.
Right? Don't take opinions of others. They're not worth it. Okay?
Okay.
Go to the guys who are successful. Yes? They won't give you opinions. They will construct the plan of action for you. I became a success because I used to go to guys and institutions like people who used to tell me what not to do. The only thing is I had to learn with them, from them, not besides them. Am I clear?
Yeah, yes, that's wonderful. I'll take one more question from Shefali. Preeti, if Shefali is not there, maybe you can say the question on Shefali's behalf.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Hello, Preeti.
Shefali is there, I think.
Shefali is here.
Shefali is here.
Yes, Mr. Ahluwalia, I have a question. Actually, I was struck by something you said earlier. You know, I'm in the service sector. I'm a lawyer, and you said that rather than going for customer satisfaction, people should go for rather than going for customer loyalty, people should go for customer satisfaction.
No, other way around.
Sorry,
customer satisfaction is worthless. Customer loyalty is priceless.
But wouldn't loyalty be a consequence of customer satisfaction? Because in the short term, what can a service provider or a goods manufacturer do other than customer satisfaction?
Okay. So can you elaborate with an example, and you'll answer your question yourself.
So by way of example, so I provide intellectual property services. When I get queries regarding trademarks or copyright, the goal at the end of the day is to answer the client's questions, identify what their IP needs are, make sure they're protected, and look into the future to make a way for going forward. But that's sort of the micro plan. I feel like customer loyalty is something that comes over a span of time. How does a service provider go after customer loyalty? I would love to be able to do that.
You will do that, not love to be. So let's get the words right. You will be doing it. That's the only thing you need to do. Okay, now let me get to the basics. You are in IPR, am I right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to change the whole vocabulary for you. Shefali, you work for ABC company, right? And I'm a lawyer, right?
Yes.
Right. So I'll come to you. Forget the jargons. Shefali, you'll tell me your teething issues A, B, C, D. Sure, Shefali. This will be done, right? So just let's not talk about this. Tell me what extra you would like me to do. How can I make your business grow? How can you make your business secure? It's a different platter now. Am I right?
Yes.
Do we do that? Your job, Shefali, is to make your client grow. Am I right?
Right.
Because in his growth is your growth. Am I right?
Yes.
In his evolution is your evolution.
Right.
You're not a symptomatic treatment doctor. You're a healer. Am I right? And we make ourselves as professionals as symptomatic treatment doctors. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. You need to be a person that this guy says, I used to work in a paint company, and our caption was, whenever you think of color, think of us. A beautiful line, yes or no?
Yes.
The same thing with Shefali. Whenever you think of any law, anything to do with my evolution in this top of the mind, Shefali, then you will not be paid. You will be rewarded. You don't have to seek for customers. They'll knock at your door. Yes or no? And when referrals come, Shefali, you don't negotiate. Yes or no? You don't even talk about the price. There's a value. Am I right?
Yes.
The check automatically comes. That's the only difference. Our terminology, we make ourselves as transactions. Change the paradigm, change the goalpost. Why are you, I don't understand this when I talk to people, the same goal, and you want to beware of the guy. No, don't beware of the guy who learns 1,000 things. Beware of that guy who learns to do one thing 1,000 times. He's the problem. He's going to make you miserable. Am I right? So whatever you do, just be the best.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Ahluwalia.
Thank you. And thanks for this question.
Thank you so much, KS. Thank you. It's been really enlightening, and, we can go on and on. I know he has got plenty of stamina. We, at the end of the day, some of us might sleep, but KS won't. But, and that was more on the humor. But I really have to thank all this lovely, appreciative audience. Amit, the final vote of thanks to you, please.
Thank you, Rajiv. It's been always an honor to deliver the vote of thanks, because you get a chance to summarize the session a little bit, though I cannot do what Mr. KS Ahluwalia has told. So what I would like, the major learning I would share for me, what he said, that we should be choosing the piece and not to be in pieces. So this is the buzz, or this is the catchword, Mr. Ahluwalia, for me. I'm sure everybody other would be having their own learning and their precious pearl what they would have picked up. So I step in to fill in the void of our president of Indo-Dutch Chamber, Mr. Rajesh Srivastava, who could not join in due to some urgent call which was fixed up at the last moment. And on behalf of both the chambers, Indo-Dutch Chamber and BLBA, I would thank you, Mr. Ahluwalia, for your time, and also to the audience. And I would say a success of webinar is measured by the number of participants who remain till the end. So one good thing about this whole webinar is that people who have joined in at different time slots, starting from 5 minutes to 5 to 5:30, 5:45. And I can still see them in the panel. So I would say it is really an engaging discussion. So thank you for this engaging discussion. And if any of our audiences have any question, maybe they can send it on email to Preeti and Priyanka, and we can forward it to you, Mr. Ahluwalia. And whenever you feel convenient, maybe you can answer one-on-one, or a kind of a reply you can send them on email. So that would be good of you.
I'm always available. Just give me a shout, right?
Yeah.
So my only humble suggestion to all of you is, I don't follow bureaucracy. Okay. And there is no Mr. Ahluwalia. In corporate life, I know him by two names, KS or Alu. so these are names which you won't forget. And here, a Sir and an Alu are omnipresent in the world. Here you have one, the Sir also and an Alu also.
Amit, if I can just add that we've had already a request from some of the members to have the email ID of KS. So Abhi, for example, mentioned, and what we will do is that, we will make a brief resume and send it out to all the members of both the chambers. So they have the email ID and once again a resume of or that a personal profile of Mr. Ahluwalia, and they can reach out to him even directly and talk to him and take it on from there. KS, Kasi, thanks a lot for your comments.
Can I have a few words for my feedback? Probably, as I mentioned, that this is one of the best webinar what we had, at least what I attended. We are also, Picanol is also a sales organization, and every day is basically going to the customer. Whatever taught in the MBA classes of in the colleges, it's out of the window basically. Every meeting we go, every customer, even after 30 years, it is brand new. You don't go with the fixed idea. I tell my team it's the same thing. Don't go with the fixed idea how to handle the meeting. Let the meeting start. First, we have to listen to the customer rather than we make the customer to listen to us. Don't start doing the PowerPoint presentation, explaining the brochures, whatever. Try to tell him whatever you know in all your life. That is the worst thing you can do it. The best thing is just listen to him, what he wants, what is his problems, and then how we can help him. So first, you allow him to talk more is the success. Not that how good you know the English or how much we learn, so that try to explain our achievements. So I think that was an unorthodox talk of case of what I have listened, and that's why it makes you also stand apart rather than one in the cluster. And I really appreciate it. This is all your life examples. You didn't take anything from the Harvard encyclopedia, but you took only something from your practical life and all in a simple language. So I think it was a very inspirational speech. Thanks a lot, sir.
Rashmi, in a lighter way, Harvard English mein hai. And my English is weak. I told you, I've done MA English in Hindi medium.
तो इंडियन हार्वर्ड हो गए ना सर एक्चुअली हमारे लिए यही हार्वर्ड है और क्या चाहिए क्योंकि when you call for all these big meetings with the very long degrees and then try to create an impression, even the person appears a simple person who stand up and then he talks with the simple language. My professor said in the college is the one who talks the simplest language, conveys everything what is to the audience. He is the best speaker, not the one who has the longest degree in his life. So I think that is what you proved it today. Though you may also have a very long degree, but for me, I do not see whatever the degree line, but then your experience and the practical speech actually shown us how different you are. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay. So what we will do with that resume along with the email ID and the video link we'll share with everyone once the video is uploaded on YouTube. So once again, thank you all. Thank you, KS. Thank you, the audiences and the members. Thank you, Priyanka, Preeti, for organizing it, coordinating the things. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thank you very much.
I switch off this meeting now. Bye.
And have your samosas. Have your samosas now.
Yeah.
With aloo.
Yeah, with aloo.
Bye to all. Be safe.
Aloo, I'm coming.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, really nice.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Rajiv.
sir.
So nice of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Rajiv. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rajiv.